History often shows heroes as perfect, brave, selfless, and brilliant. We honor their achievements, from saving lives to shaping nations. But behind the fame are troubling mistakes, choices, beliefs, and actions that don't always match their heroic image. This is the story of famous figures whose hidden flaws reveal their human nature. Let's take a closer look, starting with a saint whose kindness was not without controversy.
Welcome to Unveiled History.
Mother Teresa is celebrated as a symbol of compassion, dedicating her life to helping the poor in Calcutta. Her missionaries of charity provided care for the sick, orphaned, and destitute, earning her a Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. To many, she was a living saint, selfless and devoted. But there's another side to her story that's less glowing, hidden beneath her saintly image. Critics have pointed out that her hospices often provided inadequate medical care. Many patients suffered in pain with little more than basic shelter, despite the millions of dollars her organization received in donations. Reports suggest that needles were reused without proper sterilization, and pain relief was minimal because Mother Teresa believed suffering brought people closer to God. This view shocked many, as it seemed, to prioritize spiritual ideals over practical help. Her financial practices also raised eyebrows. Large sums of money donated to her. Charity were not always used to improve conditions for the poor. Instead, some funds went to the Vatican or were held in bank accounts with little transparency about their use. Critics like writer Christopher Hitchens argued she was more focused on promoting her religious mission than addressing the root causes of poverty. She also accepted donations from questionable sources, like the Haitian dictator Jean-Claude Duvalier, without questioning their ethics. Mother Teresa's strict Catholicism sometimes clashed with modern values. She opposed contraception and abortion, even in cases of extreme poverty, which some saw as ignoring the practical needs of the people she served. While her devotion to the poor was undeniable, her methods and choices left a complicated legacy, one where compassion came with conditions that not everyone could accept. Winston Churchill is remembered as Britain's bulldog, the Prime Minister who led the nation through World War II. His speeches brought the nation together during the Nazi threat, and his leadership helped win the war. But behind the hero image was a darker side, filled with choices and beliefs that caused pain and suffering. Churchill's role in the 1943 Bengal famine is one of his most criticized actions. During World War II, British policies under his leadership diverted food supplies from India to support the war effort. Bengal, already struggling, faced a catastrophic famine that killed up to 3 million people. Churchill's government prioritized stockpiling grain for Britain and its allies, leaving Indians to starve. He reportedly blamed the famine on overpopulation, and even mocked Gandhi's hunger strikes, showing little empathy for the suffering. His views on race and empire also cast a shadow. Churchill was a staunch defender of British imperialism, believing non-white colonies were inferior. He referred to Indians as a beastly people and opposed their independence, insisting British rule was necessary. During the Mau Mau uprising in Kenya, his government oversaw brutal crackdowns with thousands detained in harsh camps. These actions reflected his belief in British superiority, which many now see as deeply racist. Churchill's wartime decisions weren't flawless either. The bombing of Dresden in 1945, a city packed with refugees, killed tens of thousands of civilians. While strategic, many historians argue it was excessive and driven by Churchill's desire to demonstrate power. His stubbornness sometimes led to military blunders, like the Gallipoli campaign in World War I, which cost thousands of lives. Churchill's courage saved Britain, but his arrogance and prejudice left scars. He was a hero to some, but to others, his actions reveal a man shaped by the biases of his time, with devastating results. John Lennon, the Beatles' soulful genius, is remembered for songs like Imagine, which preached peace and love. His activism against war and injustice made him a cultural icon, but Lennon's personal life had a controversial side that clashed with his public image as a peace advocate. Lennon's personal life was marked by cruelty, especially toward those closest to him. His first wife, Cynthia, described him as emotionally distant and sometimes abusive. He admitted to being physically abusive to his wife during their marriage in the 1960s. In interviews, he admitted to hitting her, usually because of jealousy or insecurity. People didn't talk much about this while he was alive, since his public image hid his personal mistakes. His parenting life also drew criticism. Lennon was largely absent from his son Julian's life, born to Cynthia in 1963. He showed little interest in fatherhood, prioritizing his career and later his relationship with Yoko Ono. Julian has spoken about feeling abandoned, receiving little emotional or financial support. Lennon's second son, Sean, got more attention, but this favoritism only deepened Julian's sense of rejection. His relationships with friends and bandmates were often full of problems because of his harsh words and sudden temper. Lennon could be very harsh, and he made fun of people, even those close to him, using sharp and hurtful jokes. He once ridiculed a disabled person at a club, an incident that shocked those who saw him as a champion of kindness. Lennon's hypocrisy also drew criticism. While he sang about peace, he was drawn to radical figures and causes, sometimes glorifying violence in his rhetoric. His drug use, particularly heroin, led to erratic behavior and strained his relationships. Though Lennon later acknowledged his flaws and tried to change, his darker actions of abuse, neglect, and cruelty reveal a man who struggled to live up to the ideals he preached. His music inspired millions, but his personal life reminds us that even icons can fall short. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, is hailed as a tech genius who transformed the world with the iPhone, iPad, and Macintosh. His vision and drive made Apple a global powerhouse, but Jobs had an ugly side, marked by a ruthless personality and questionable ethics that hurt those around him. Jobs was known for his harsh treatment of employees. He could be brutally critical, publicly humiliating workers in meetings if their work didn't meet his standards. Former Apple employees described a culture of fear where Jobs' temper and perfectionism pushed people to their limits. Some left the company emotionally scarred, despite their contributions to its success. His leadership style drove innovation, but often at a human cost. His personal life also had shadows. Jobs initially denied being the father of his daughter, Lisa, born to his former girlfriend, Chrisanne Brennan. He refused to support them financially, even as he amassed wealth, leaving Lisa and her mother struggling for years. Though he later reconciled with Lisa, his early rejection was cold and hurtful. Jobs' business practices weren't always ethical either. He was accused of exploiting workers in Apple's overseas factories, where poor conditions and low wages were common. He also engaged in backdating stock options, a shady financial move that led to legal scrutiny, though he avoided serious consequences. While Jobs' innovations changed the world, his arrogance, cruelty, and willingness to bend rules reveal a man who prioritized success over empathy. His genius came with a cost, paid by those who worked for him and those he pushed away. John Wayne, a famous movie star, was known for playing tough American heroes in films like Stagecoach and True Grit. Many saw him as a symbol of patriotism and manliness. However, Wayne's real-life beliefs and behavior were often very different from the brave characters he projected in movies. Wayne had very conservative views that many people today find upsetting. In a 1971 Playboy interview, he made racist comments saying he believed in white supremacy until black people were educated to a point of responsibility. He also downplayed the suffering of Native Americans, saying they were selfishly holding on to land. These remarks shocked many fans and showed that his real beliefs were very different from the heroic image he had in movies. His political actions also caused controversy. Wayne strongly supported the Vietnam War, which many young people at the time saw as a pointless and painful conflict. He co-directed and acted in The Green Berets, a movie that many criticized for making the war look good while ignoring the suffering it caused. He also supported the Hollywood blacklist during the McCarthy era, helping to end the careers of people accused of being communists, often without proof. On a personal level, Wayne's 3 marriages and numerous affairs painted a picture of a man who struggled with fidelity. He was also known for drinking heavily and having a bad temper, which caused problems with his family and co-workers. While many admire him for his acting, his personal beliefs and behavior show a side of him that didn't match the brave and noble characters he played on screen. Today, his legacy is a mix of respect for his work and discomfort with the things he stood for. These figures are celebrated as icons in history, but their stories reveal flaws that clash with their perfect public images. From questionable values to acts of cruelty, they're darker sides remind us that even heroes are human, shaped by their time and the choices they made. Their legacies are impressive, but they also carry shadows that shouldn't be overlooked. History often paints its heroes in bold, flawless strokes, but the truth is rarely so simple. Behind the celebrated achievements and iconic images lie human beings with flaws, contradictions, and moments that challenge their legacy. From questionable beliefs to acts of cruelty, their stories remind us that greatness can exist alongside darkness. Examining these hidden truths does not erase their accomplishments. It gives us a fuller, more honest picture of the past. It also forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about how history is written, who gets celebrated, and what we choose to forget. In understanding their shadows, we gain a deeper appreciation of both their humanity and their impact. Thank you for watching. If you believe history should be told in its entirety, the good, the bad, and the uncomfortable, please like, share, and subscribe. Join us next time as we continue uncovering the truths that history books often leave behind.